Okay, now. Okay, good morning, everyone. Today's very special session about gut health. We need to talk about it if we want to improve our rosacea. Even we might think, well, I just need to improve the skin. Yes, but the skin is the biggest organ in the body, and it's connected directly to your gut. And I will explain you today. I will share later today in Facebook group this diagram, and I would like to explain to you today this important aspect of it, because when we want to really improve our skin, if it's rosacea, if it's dermatitis, if it's any other skin issues, we have to start in the gut. And I will tell you some nuggets today, and we will carry on as well. I will always touch the gut in every session because it's fundamental, it's essential for you to tap into this area and really improve it. And by the way, very often we as a rosacea patients, we have very often symptomatology like IBS, IBD. We have issues in gastrointestinal tract. So this is something that we have to, very good, you all can see me, hear me, great, sorry about that. So it's really important to tap into this area. So I like to, as I said, let's have a look why we have to talk about gut if we really like the problem is in the skin. So this is a good scenario. This is when all the microbes in the gut are happy, and they will basically will create nice symbiosis with the skin. Because if you imagine, this is the lumen, and this is all the food, and that goes this goes out. It's like a poop. And of course, there's only one layer of cells, and you see this is the vasculature. It goes to the vessels everywhere in the body, and of course, it goes in the skin as well. So as you can see, it's very quick passage to skin. And if you can just visualize better this, this is very simplistically put, because of course gut is much further. Skin, like our face is here and gut is there, but basically if you just imagine that how quickly this communicates, the things that are in the gut, and I tell you what things are, I mean, and then how they really influencing what's happening in the gut. So the intestinal and epidermal barrier are connected through this systemic circulation, the blood and the lymph. Two more people coming. And so it's really important that's why I can show you now how I do always the lymphodrainage. So how I do lymphodrainage is that I always try to you either do this and you don't press it too much, but you basically put all the things away from the face. This is how you support your lymphodrainage. And you must do this, like press it here, because that's where it all go away from your skin. So you don't want to make like too much of movement because you create the wrinkles, but you start here, and then you basically either do this and again away from the face, and you can do that as well, and away from the face. You don't need to be that skilled to do that. You have to just make sure that all this, and this is how you support your blood and lymph and really the circulation in the skin, because that helped me tremendously when I was all inflamed. And that time I remember I was using some little bit of I did that now on like nothing on the skin, but I would use some emollient that is really that you will tolerate. That time it was some product from Aflom, but I don't use it now for years. It was when we live in Australia, and that was really inflamed, and that was really helped me. But otherwise, you don't want to use any cosmetics that will just make it worse. So even if it's like the shea butter, that can do that, or just nothing, just like I did it with aloe vera as well. Some of you ask me actually how to treat the pustule. So for that I use turmeric paste, as I told you yesterday. I put a little bit of the powder, I make the little bit paste, and then I put on the inflammation, and it was amazing. I mean, I was yellow. Luckily my office is dark, right? As ophthalmologist, I always in a dark place, and most of the time, so it was fine. But normally you don't want to be yellow, but I didn't care. I just wanted to improve my skin, so that if you are home alone, this is something. But again, try it first here if you tolerate it, because you might be sensitive to it, and that will be not good if you you just have more complication from that. So let's go back to gut. So as you can see, clear difference. This is happy gut with all the microbes that belong there and creating good metabolites. I will talk about it in a minute. And this creates the messages to the skin, to your face especially, that the inflammation is subside. It's no inflammation, it's very low, and the skin can kind of be happy as well. In this scenario, as you can see, and it's black and white, but this is dysbiotic gut microbiome. And as I said, I will share this picture later in the group. This is dysbiotic gut microbiome. I will tell you what it means in a minute. And this is disrupt the barrier. And then that's why therefore sometimes the particulars things that supposed not to be in our circulation will go there and will create inflammation then in the skin. And it's, as I said, this is from some paper from 2019. This is very simplistic explanation, but I love this visual because it's kind of like, you know, if your gut will be happy, you wait and you will see that your skin will be happy as well. Because that, you know, influence the gut microbes. They influence not only what goes in the bloodstream, but really we need to make sure that we have the mucin layer is there. Like here, you don't see it, but we need mucin layer intact. We need reduced the bed bugs that will create inflammation, and really the intestinal permeability should be very low. That will not cause the gut inflammation that is here. And when it's impaired, when we have, you know, impaired the skin barrier, then when we have imbalance in skin microbiome and really all these other things that I want to bore you with, chemicals, NPK and whatever. But just always remember this: if you're, is it a crosstalk and it's bidirectional. So if your gut will be happy, your skin will be happy eventually as well. And so I just, for those who never attend my presentation before, I want to show you the gut lining. I know, Mindy, I think you will know this picture already, but I want to show it to you anyway, because like, why we talking about gut now, you know, we have to talk about gut and start there, because this is the foundation of how you can really improve your skin. And I mean, dermatologists will as well give you a paper sheet of things that you're supposed not to eat, but they might not tell you why, or you know, but we know now. I think it's now, it's not like we're talking 2 years ago that when like people saying what is leaky gut. I think now everybody knows. I mean, you know what leaky gut is, or have an idea, and you heard it before somewhere. So it's not like a novelty for you, but I just want to share with you this. And by the way, this is not new anyway, because Hippocrates made this statement thousands of years ago that all diseases begins in the gut. And now we have all these scientific proof that actually he was right. And same is Ayurveda. Ayurveda is like 4,000 or I don't know how many years, how many thousands years old. And they have the similar principles that you always have to find the you know, the root cause. Of course, sometimes the root cause can be really, as I told you, moldy house or toxic relationship that interfere with the gut as well. So it's all basically, we have to always tap into all these areas. And as we were talking yesterday and before yesterday, kind of more in the belief and the mindset and the soul, now we go really to the body, and we're talking about the physicality and physiology, what will happen if we really start eating better, and what will happen if we really start feeding the good bacteria. So I just want to explain you this picture. I hope you can see that. Yeah, I hope you can see that. So this is, again, this is a good gut lining. So imagine the gut is a tube, and we're talking about if you cut this, the tube like this. So imagine it's just one a line of a layer of cells. That is like, there's no very little kind of protection. So if these cells are damaged, we are in a trouble. And that's why when they're working properly, this is the scenario, when they're working properly, they create tight barrier that control what is absorbed in the bloodstream. So this is really, really important, and especially not only the one line of cells, but as well we have this mucin layer, which is as well important. And with processed food, we can easily like damage this mucin layer, and we creating this holes and all these pathology that I will tell you in a minute. So when is a good looking gut? We have happy gut microbiota. I will talk about in a minute what it is and what we want. And so the gut microbiome is the genes from all the gut microbiota, just to make the terminology right. So sometimes you hear microbiota and then they talking about the little bugs. And the microbiome is the whole genetic that influence basically our our body, because they really influence everything from from our mind to eye health to skin health, basically everything. There's so many metabolites in our bloodstream. I will talk about it in a minute. So if you can imagine, this is the good scenario of gut when we have happy microbes, good mucin layer, and cells that are not getting anything in the bloodstream. In this scenario, when we call this as intestinal hyperpermeability, which is exactly, well, I did my best to draw this, but we cannot anymore guarantee that the good stays in and the bad stays out. This is stool, this is going, we will, with bowel movement, we will eliminate this. And so all these bad bacteria that are producing the bad metabolites goes in, and here they're creating this, immune antibodies and create the chronic inflammation. That's why we're talking about there's a food allergy and all the health complications that can go from this scenario. Really, they create pro-inflammatory cells. And this is what is happening. We don't have protection to go to hold it just here, that goes out, because only small little tiny particle goes in, because you see how it's tight, it's regulated. But here, this scenario is not regulated. And that's why we were talking yesterday about elimination diet. So when we pause all these known triggers, we will basically slowly, we will trigger this area less. And when we add nourishing meals, nourishing food, we can slowly and gradually heal it. So this is just for you to imagine that you have to really, it's complicated, but at the end, it's really not that difficult, because we can do so much. And now we know much more about this gut microbiome and the leaky gut. And as I told you yesterday or before Monday, it was I was talking about the gluten. The gluten causes leaky gut, and that's why in elimination diet we take gluten out. But someone of you asked me how long, because some of you were 2 months on elimination diet, which I would only eliminate the big triggers, which is alcohol, sugar, gluten, and maybe dairy. But I would not eliminate all the other vegetables that can be like someone is, I mentioned yesterday, someone is on food map 4 months. This is not the idea, because then you create nutrition deficiency. We want to go back, because with this type of gut, you will be really triggered after every food, because even if you have this gut type of gut, and you will do sensitivity tests for blueberries, they will come up as you sensitive to them, because they will go into the bloodstream. And so that's why it's so tricky, and you have to really know what you're doing with these tests, and especially how to interpret it, because we need to find the good balance between like what is the meals that will really heal your gut. Sometimes I see that people saying that the broth, yes, the broth is fantastic, and I will mention it in a minute, but broth that it's from the shop in a bottle will not help you heal your gut for sure. Like, you have to cook your own, when all the aminopeptides, all the amino acids will be present, and it will be all fresh, and this will really be a source and fuel for the gut cells. So first thing is, when you want to really, that's something that you can start today. We know the triggers. As I said, it's alcohol, processed food, sugar, gluten. Some medication can, if you are all the time, taking if you're all the time taking ibuprofen, it can be as well problematic, because we know that all these medicines, they can really as well attribute to leaky gut. So really the most common initial step that we always do is remove the food that can eventually be can promote inflammation and really change it in the gut flora. And so I would not go for some crazy diet, just like, you know, a celery juice is great, or celery juice is called, right? It's great, but it's not, we have to do much more, and we have to really create this healthy lifestyle, because diet will start and finish, and then like it's not, as I told you Monday, we want to create something sustainable that will, like, you wake up and you will look forward to have the meals and the life, that the day you'll be just happy, and not that you will see, oh my gosh, I have to do, like, I can't have this, I can't have that. No, this is not what we want to create, because this will be not sustainable. And this will, we always like, if it's something so restrictive, then we go overboard when it's finished. I know that if some of you were dieting for years, you might be familiar with this. So I don't support dieting. And we know now in functional medicine, it's always like you have to eat, you have to seed, and then you have to feed. So imagine like your I always imagine it as my gut is like garden, like, you know, a beautiful garden, like a flower. Everywhere are flowers. And actually, I can tell you that how I invented this was because I did already my health journey when I really improved my rosacea into the degree that I didn't have any symptoms. And then the maintenance is basically you just doing things that are natural too, because you know your body so well. So I told you with the beer, like I can have a beer, but just a little bit. I can have wine, but I know when I have to stop, because I know that it's like my body will then, well, no, it's too much. Or we were 1 week in Maine 2 years ago. And we were in a place where I couldn't cook, and I had like fried food all week. I could see my nose was red after 1 week of fried food. So imagine if we have this, and that's why the fried food are so bad for us, because they have this, not only they fried, so they create these ages and, you know, rages, and it's like we age so fast if we eat these, because they contribute as well. We create so many free radicals and stuff like that. But as well, because they contain these bad oils that I was talking yesterday when I was talking about inflammation. So we don't want anything fried. That's best is the fryers, I don't know how to call it, dry fryers or air fryers. There's a good, or when you bake something in an oven. When I bake vegetables, I don't put anything, because don't put olive oil on something that you will then bake very high temperature, because that will go rancid. So the oils are, especially for us, they are same danger like the sugar. I would say those are really like two big ones, and a gluten, of course, as well. Well, they okay, so they manage these two, but gluten I would definitely leave for long. You can live without gluten, and if you will see that it's really good, I will start very slowly with the grains. So what I mean by it, some people they cut gluten, and then they will. By the way, the elimination diet must be done really carefully, so you really find your triggers. And that's how you do it, is that you will prepare everything. Then that 1 week, you will take all these triggers out. And then each day, I mentioned it yesterday, but I repeat again, because there was some question. Each day, you will add one food. And you will really like watch your body, what's happening, and this is only way how we can find out, how we can find if we have a sensibility, or if we're sensitive, or if it's intolerance to some food. And as I told you, a lady on a dairy farm, like she never touched the dairy, because it's just, and she lived in dairy farm. So imagine this. And she was actually happy to do that, because she felt so good. And so gluten is the one that really causes leaky gut. I would stay away, even, you know, for long. And then unfortunately, some of these grains, they can imitate the gluten, the gliadin, and all the proteins that are in gluten. It can imitate. So I would be very careful with other grains, with rice, with all these other grains that don't contain gluten. And if you want to consume these grains, I would always soak them overnight. Rice, I always soak the oats. If I love oats, but I can't go overboard with oats because, as I told you, my genetics, I'm prone to have diabetes, which of course I have no sign of diabetes, but I know that my genetic is like that. So I love oats, but I can't have like a whole bowl of oats. But if you put the PFF, the protein, fat, and fiber, you can have oats if you want. Some of you ask me, you can have oats, but you have to make sure that it will not spike your sugar, and it's not something that you are really have to be careful. So all of these grains are really kind of risky. But again, it's a journey, and we will have to slowly kind of build a knowledge about what this body is made for and go from there. So that's why it's so important to really follow some kind of do the journal and be intentional. It's not, I know I don't want from you something that it will be really like very hardcore to do. I mean, I'm busy, like but it's just about intention. Because if, you know, some people tell me that they don't have time to do anything, they don't have time cooking. Well, you have to create time in your life. And if you don't have time, 10 minutes or 15 minutes in your life to do anything, like, you know, if I say to myself, I don't have time to go for a walk with the dog, then I have to change something in my life because it's not right. Like we all have this time, and we all have, when we are not in this balance, then we create as well that there can be problem there, and we have to tap into this area. And as I told you on Monday, to like really work on it, like what I'm doing wrong, that I'm out of balance, because some people that they're working so hard that they don't take care, that they don't have time to take care of this body. So we need to have a little bit of time to do that. And I know it's hard now, like we really have to work hard and do a to-do list. And, you know, if you have family, so it's I understand that it's hard, but if you put your health as a value on the like top 3, then you will make time. So that's really about the focus and about intention. And that's why the gut health is something that, like, if you don't cook your own meals, start today, and maybe start with one little thing. But if you want to heal your gut, and you are on processed food, and you are having some like, you know, takeouts, it will not happen. I'm sorry, but it will not happen, because we need to cook meals that are made at home from the ingredients that are healing. So you know what you put there. And you know, I said already before that we should be eating 30 to 50 vegetables a week. You might say, oh my gosh, it's so much, but it's not. And I teach all that, and people are amazed how then they master it. It's like, oh yeah, I can do that. But of course, going from, you know, something that we quickly grab, then we go out to the work, we have donuts with the coffee, and then we have some sandwich. And of course, there is like how you can count so many vegetables. But if you put intention there, you can create easily meals that will really contain so much vegetables. And this is where you will start seeing the results. Because I see as well many people saying, I cut sugar and I cut this, but it's not only about cutting. You have to kind of nourish the body with things that I will mention in a minute. You have to eat a lot of vegetables. You have to eat this healing, you know, the chicken soup, all the amino acids that are really healing for the gut lining and really feeding the gut microbiota. So definitely we have to cut out, you know, exposure to chemicals. If you really, I think I shared the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15. This is the environmental group that they invented this list of, you don't need to spend money and buy everything organic, but you can have a look and see what you can buy not organic, because of course organic food is so expensive. Like but we can as well have very affordable food, and it will be not expensive. And as well, if you have food allergies, you avoid this food. But another thing that I want to mention here, so we're talking about the food, we're talking about the liquids that we drink, that as well, if you drink soda all the time, you don't drink, I think nobody here drinks soda, but if we drink this, the drinks that can create, or the energy drinks that they promote that they are healthy, but it's just so bad for you, this can as well kind of negatively affect the gut integrity. But what I want to mention is, which will be surprising, is that the poorly managed stress and sleep is as well influencing how your gut will be doing. And this is something that it's like, really? Yes, really. So that's why meditation is something that we have to master, to be like, yes, in the beginning, it was hard for me too, because I was in denial, like really, I was thinking, I'm fine, I'm not stressed. And then I start meditating and I was like, oh my gosh, this is how I'm supposed to be. Like, I was like in a train station, all these thoughts coming in and out, I never stop. So we have to learn how to stop, how to pause, and how to really tune in, because this body is like magical, and each of you will have different root cause for this rosacea. Every one of you. There are some general traits. Yes, the gut health, we all have to work on it. And when you know yourself better, you know what you can afford, and you will never touch, sometimes people saying to me, like, they travel a lot. Yes, so when I would be, let's say, if I'm traveling, I have taken a lot of planes, and 10 years ago, I would be starving. I would have all the snacks on the plane. I would have Snickers probably on the plane. And I will just like, and this will be like normal for me. But now if I know that there will be no good food, especially when I was traveling in the US, there is not really like good food. If you're traveling in Italy or somewhere, you can always have a good choice of the snack or some food that you can buy. But in US, it was very hard. And when I knew that I would be traveling, either I took something in my bag. So I always take food with you wherever you go in this transition, when you're really finding the new way. And you, especially if you don't have this metabolic flexibility, when you develop this metabolic flexibility, when you will become from the sugar burner, you will become fat burner. You will then be, you'll make decision like, okay, I will not eat anything, I will just fast. And you just fast. That's what I then decided to do, and I felt so good, because I said, okay, because I'm not sure how well you feel when you're eating on a plane, but I think it's something that we should be not doing very often. But this will be then your decision, and those are the decisions from the healthy lifestyle, because we don't want to be depending on anything. We don't want to be cravings all the time and not be able to manage them, because then we make bad decision for our gut health, and then secondary for our skin. So this is still the the vicious cycle that we on, and we have to just pause and find out, like, what is it in life. Like, do I work too much? I don't have time for myself. Or do I live in this place where I have to just declutter because it's just too much? And should I clean the house because there's a mold? If I live in a mold, never. You can do whatever you want. If I lived in a mold now, we moved and there was a mold in the place, and I could not do that. And unfortunately, now the house is flooded, but luckily we were not there too long. But if you have moldy house, please, you have to check it, and you have to do something with it, because you can do whatever you want. You can have pristine diet, you can meditate, but if you will breathe the mold toxin, and you have genetics and predisposition to really have bad outcome from it, that's just like me, I cannot have mold. So that's something I went a little bit again to rabbit hole, but it's just so important. I have to share this with you, so you know, because it's very often that their mold is issue, especially in rosacea. Second issue that I want to mention it, which I'm not talking about this, I'm talking in a program extensively, is candida. So when we very often people have antibiotics, and when you finish antibiotics, or even already in the course of antibiotics, you will basically kill everything, which antibiotics are great like that. They kill all the bacteria that I was talking about, you know, all these all the good bacteria, and just the bad one will thrive, and especially the fungi like the candida or other, the fusiform, basically these that will then make you crave sugar, and it will be very difficult for you to navigate, because they create this metabolites that will make you crave sugar. So that's why it's like it's so many things that plays role. Or I told you as well that if some of you have already eaten, so if some of you eating this really healthy diet, lot of filled with a lot of vegetables, a lot of healthy fats, a lot of nuts and seeds, and you still and not having any stress, your house is clean, there's no mold. So basically all these exterior and interior as well, like no stress and good sleep, and you still not feel good, then we have to do testing, because it can be anything, something else in the gut, like the parasites. So it's something that it's so complex, but whatever, you don't need to do testing to really get better at this point. So I didn't do any testing when he was healing my rosacea, because that time was not even the research on gut microbiome that advanced like it is now. We didn't know, there was no study done on the leaky gut yet. So of course we didn't have any study for leaky guts. But if you apply this and you're really true to yourself and say, no, yesterday I had this donut, so so wearing this, I don't wear it now, but wearing this continuous glucose monitor, you'll be surprised what would 3 cookies do. And especially we have usually 3 cookies on empty stomach. So please never have anything sweet on empty stomach, such a chocolate croissant or ice cream. No, please. Anything, because when you do that, that will spike your blood sugar so high, and then you will have crash, and then again you are again it's bad for the gut health, for the gut microbiota. So this is something, these nuances that I cannot share you all of it because it's like we cannot cover this in 1 hour. But I just really want you to understand that it's not only what you're taking out, but it's also what you're bringing in. That's why we are, it's a wheat, it's a seed, and it's feed, like Mark Haim is saying it. And that's what I was mentioning before, but I diverted. Was when I always imagine my body as, especially the gut, as a garden with flowers. And I was having this work which was really intense for 3 months, and I really didn't, it was very intense work, and I didn't really take care of myself that as normal. And in this 3 months, I felt like I don't feel the body same way. And I said to myself, okay, now I have to weed it. Like I really had to weed it, because I could see that it was kind of, as you develop this feeling of your body, when people tell me that they know how the body feels, I know they on that journey already, like established, because then you just do what the body tells you to do, and you're not following these cravings, and you're not falling for the trap of having the chips and hamburger at Friday night with the beer, because you just like this to have as a, this is your, but for some people it's okay. Like if this is your priority, this is your value, that you love to have the social life and have a beer, it's okay. But then we cannot kind of have it both ways, because if we can have it sometimes and then take the consequences. But in the beginning, when we're still looking for some answers in the body, especially like what I can have and what I can't have, we have to be patient and really, like for a few weeks, definitely just take all these triggers out, because chips are triggers because of the sugar bed oils, and then the hamburger, of course, it's the gluten and probably a meat that it's not from humanly raised sources. And beer obviously will make brewery in the stomach, as I told you before. So it's something that we just have to think, okay, what I'm doing now. And if you ask me, so what if I have a party? Well, I would not suggest someone to do this work when you're planning, a big birthday celebration, or when you're having a wedding or something. But if you are going to party, just what I used to do is, when I know that will be no good food that I can enjoy, so I ate before I went to the party, and then I just nibble on something, because nothing will happen if you have one donut. But the thing is that then we overindulge, and it's just, then we basically will put all the work that we did, we just delete it. So it's something that I always say, if we're doing this work, sometime very short period of time, just we have to be focused and really be kind of intentional, and maybe say, you know what, I always say, Mary, my friend, She likes to go and have all the dessert in the restaurant and the drink. So if I know that I would ended up going with her and have a drink and dessert. So I said, Mary, we do something else this time. So you always have to think about this, because the social environment influences us big way, and a big way. I think there's a statistic that we can be influenced from friends of your friends. So if your friends of your friends, especially they did this with obesity, it can influence us in a degree that we will have some percentage of to become obese. So this is like, environment is everything, really. But we can always kind of find a way. But back to the gut. So we need a good gut lining, as you understood. So we have to take things out, because this lifestyle that we have, and it's easy to follow, it's much harder to make a healthy decision in this. If you go to supermarket, everything is filled with chemicals, everything is filled with sugar, with bad oils, and with flour, so gluten. So we have to take things out, and we have to add things in to balance our gut microbiome. I will later show a picture in the Facebook group of why such a fuss, why we need to eat so much vegetables, and why we need to take care of this gut microbiota. So they live everywhere. They live on the skin. And I personally think, which we don't have study yet, but it's just question of time, my bet will be that if you change your gut bugs here in the gut, you will influence the growth everywhere else. And this, I think, happened to me because I might have Demodex. I never tested it, so it's like speculation. But I think it's seeing what's happening in the body at the moment that we know already. I think if you focus on a gut, everything else will fit in a place. And as I said, some people, they can have just, they just completely destroyed. Maybe they use too many chemicals, and they created the Demodex on the skin. And so for them, it's only taking off the toxins. They stop using everything for a few weeks. They will allow the barrier to kind of come to a better place, and that's it. Like, I've seen it so many times, not so many times, but I've seen it before, that when people especially have allergy to things like sulfates, and they stop using it, the skin suddenly goes back to normal. But it's not very usual the case. Usually we have to really dig deep and look for the gut, and that's why it's a big chapter, and that's why I want to tell you today that what you eat really matters, and especially you need the vegetables, because these gut microbiota, they will be influencing your immune response. Depending what your gut bugs will be, you will have different immune reaction. That's why we know that some people get COVID, they have no symptoms, and some people have symptoms. It's as well, the gut microbiome takes place. Nutrition absorption, we know that some people, as I told you, the Japanese, you have to follow your diet from the ancestor. The Japanese, they have special gut bugs that they can take all the good stuff from the seaweed. We don't, the porphyrins, all that, we don't have this. So our seaweed, we take something, but otherwise it goes in and out. So nutrient absorption is so important. That's why that's one of the reasons why we should follow our ancestor kind of a way of eating. Because if you are from Asia, where there's a lot of coconut oil, you will thrive on coconut oil. Like, I can't do much of coconut oil. So we all have a different background, and we have different gut microbiota. And because we are getting it from our mom, and as well, that depends how we born. If you're born with C-section, or if you're born vaginally, like naturally, this will as well create different like gut microbiota, because when we go naturally, we all have all these lactobacilli, the good ones. So it's better always to be born naturally than the C-section, because from C-section we miss out the lactobacilli and all these good bacteria. But I guess it's not for this type of this discussion, but I'm just telling you how complex is this is. Hormone regulation, we know that with age it the gut bacteria changes. So something that you could eat food that you were 40, you can't eat it when you're 50. Or so that's something as well to mention. Vitamin production is well something. There are some you mentioned yesterday the vitamin B. Sometimes we don't have enzyme, so we can take it and metabolize it. That can be so many factors that can influence as well, depending what gut microbiota we have or we don't have, we will produce. So there are some some gut microbiota that can help us to produce B12 and vitamin C. So it's we have as well microbiota that we know now there is a brain gut connection that, depending what we have here, will either create and help us kind of, or it will be more kind of on depression, or we will be happier. It's clear now, it's even a whole field, the nutritional psychiatry. So something to think about. And detoxification as well. Like that's why I will talk about it in a due course, that we can support detoxification with food. And mood management as well. Like, you know, that a lot of rosacea patients, they are a little bit on the side when they said sometimes they have anxiety, they're depressed. And so that's all we have to look at. It's so complex, and that's why I want to. This is like really impossible to to say all what I want in 1 hour. But we started with this, and I want to tell you that this is what we call symbiosis. This is a balance of the good bacteria. We don't have leaky gut, and we eat like diet rich in whole foods. Lot of vegetables. If you're starting, you eat, please don't raw food. Raw food can be really heavy. So if you want to make your gut happy, start with really like cooked meals that are really almost kind of, that the gut has no work to do that. But it always must be rich in whole foods. And this scenario, when we're eating sugar, gluten, fried food, processed food, we will develop this chronic thing that we call gut dysbiosis. You don't need to know all this terminology. I really want to not use, I don't want to use any terminology, because like, what's the point? But this one I have to tell you, because it's like, this is gut symbiosis, everything works well. This is gut dysbiosis, and that's what we don't want. And this is source of inflammation in the gut and throughout the body. And of course, in the skin as well. This is when we develop the chronic diseases. That's why gut health is included in so many chronic diseases. And we know now that we can, it's so profound, the gut microbiome, that we know that we can really now as well kind of do the fecal transplant. So there was some studies done in Clostridium difficile. If people have Clostridium difficile and they receive the fecal transplant, basically poop from the other healthy person, they were able to improve it and get rid of the bad bacteria. Now they are doing a research on the autistic children as well with that, because we know that the guts, they have usually gut dysbiosis, and also on diabetes, because we know that people with diabetes as well has gut dysbiosis. With rosacea, there is some kind of commonality that there is as well gut dysbiosis, but we can't tell like it's causing this bacteria, because I think we can never put the card on one thing. It's like many things play a role, and as I said before, it's like it's a puzzle. And that's why we have to eat vegetables that it's majority is cooked. Of course, like we should have the vegetables that grows above the ground and in the ground. There are all the colors, you know, eat the rainbow, and as well raw and cooked. And like you get me there. It's like we have to have the balance kind of meals. And why we do that is because the fiber is the magic. So the fiber that it's not much in processed food. That's what we're missing. That's why people have gut dysbiosis, because they're not feeding the good bacteria. That's why we seed, and we feed. That's why if like those are my probiotics, I do sometimes, if I didn't eat well, I do this probiotics. And Saccharomyces I love very much. I do sometimes. I don't take any supplements like regularly, but I rotate. because I think our diet, unfortunately, unless I would live somewhere on a farm that I have my own everything, from the animal to vegetables, I would not take any supplements. But unfortunately, with soil is depleted, and I don't buy everything organic. So I definitely take vitamin D and some omega-3 fatty acids and multivitamin, and sometimes probiotics. But with the probiotics, as I told you, you have to take the processed food, that's the weeding. You have to seed, so you have to take probiotics, but then you have to feed them. And this is when people make some mistake, because they take probiotics, but they don't take the fiber. I know now they're selling like the symbiotics, they're selling probiotics, prebiotics together. But it's like, I don't know, I rather have this instead of, you can have probiotics not only like in the bottle, but you can have fermented food. But you tell me, oh, I cannot have fermented food because I have rosacea, it's not good for me. Yes, in the beginning it can be too much, but we want to work on it, that eventually you will be able to have some fermented food, because it's vital to grow this gut bugs. And that's where people go like, no, rosacea, we should not have fermented food, and they close the door, and they never, now they never can go better, because they can never improve, because basically, imagine like the garden has no flowers, like nothing will grow there if you don't put. So that's why we have to do the elimination diet, see what in life it's causing the stress, if it's environmental stress, if it's like a relationship, if it's toxicity that we may be eating too much sushi and have mercury poisoning, or it can be the teeth. I'm sure there is an expert here on the amalgam, and so we have to find, like, always see the big picture and then focus on the gut. And why we need vegetables? Because we need to grow these good bugs, and these gut bacteria, they create metabolites they call short chain fatty acids. Again, I don't want to give you terminology, but remember this one, because the world will talk about this, trust me, in the future. Short chain fatty acids. I will share a picture for you in the Facebook group later. These short chain fatty acids are healing. When we have more of these, they are highly anti-inflammatory, and they basically help us create health. And if we don't feed these bacteria with this fiber, we will eliminate, they will not survive. So that's why this good bacteria that creates the good metabolites needs to eat the fiber, and that's why we need to have a vegetable. So we eat the vegetable, we take the minerals, the vitamins, it's for us, for the body, but then we need to feed bacteria with the fiber, because otherwise the fiber goes in the stool, and we take it out. But the fiber is for the gut bugs. So that's why it's like, some people are against fiber. I don't know, like, I'm not pushing anything, but I think we just have to use common sense. And if we know that there are gut bacteria, and sometimes the fiber can be really difficult for us, because when we are completely, like I had a problem with fermented food in the beginning, I would just be so bloated, and I'm thinking, my gosh, I can't have this. But eventually, because I was slowly building the good ones, now of course I can never go overboard. Like, I cannot drink kombucha in one go, but it's much better. But we have to work on it, because there was a study done in Stanford, and they were actually measuring it. And then I will go, because they were measuring it, the bacteria. If you can, because you can't completely change your gut microbiome, like it's impossible. We have something from our mom, and then we can influence it when we live our life, when we touch, when we eat, yes, but we cannot like create bacteria that Japanese have, like, if that's what I mean. So we will always have like the core bacteria will be there. That's why it's a Bacteroides and Firmicutes. Those are the two strengths that we have. And now they know as well that depending what ratio you have, you will have kind of more inflammation, or you don't need to know that. But what I want to say is that all these bacteria we need to feed, and only in the future we will know, and we will have maybe therapeutic modality that we will put like tablets, mixture for rosacea, like with that strength, we eat it, we will, or maybe fecal transplant, but we don't have that yet. We will eat it, then we will have some fiber, and then we will all healed. Well, we don't have it, so we have to do it the hard way, but it is possible. And we all, even on social media, like all the people that help with rosacea, like we share the same ideas that we have to start in the gut, and that's why the gut is so important. And don't if you can't eat some food, if you, for example, on a food map diet, it's just short time, and you have to slowly work on it. And oh yeah, I wanted to tell you the Stanford study, and work on it so you will reach this place where you will have fermented food every day, because you don't want to just heal rosacea. You want to thrive and have this human experience in the body that works well for you. That's what it is. And rosacea is something, it's a gift for you. So you have to see what you have to work on. And that's what I was telling you on Monday. Like we can have, like I learned medicine with a symptom, we treat the symptoms. Okay, you have rosacea, diagnose, treatment, and see you in 3 months. But here I want to invite you and really like have the deeper conversation with your body. Like, what is it that I'm not doing or doing that creating this? And symptom is always like entry point to deeper conversation. And this is what I will keep saying all the time, because we have to. Maybe it will be only that I was eating all my life fast food. I was not sleeping enough, and this, now you have rosacea. It can be just that. So you fix this, you eat more vegetables, and your skin will eventually will go back to norm. But with this study in Stanford, they show it that when it was not only because they did one people with fiber, only eating fiber, one group of people was with the fiber and with fermented food, and one group of people with fermented food. They find out that if the people had the best results and they really increase the diversity of gut microbiota, that means like you want all these bacteria that exist, you want to have there, because every vegetable will feed different bacteria. So even purple carrot to orange carrot, you take both, because each of them has different polyphenols. Like the color is polyphenol, and that will feed different bacteria. So it's fascinating. And so that's why you have to put a little bit of work into cooking carrots. But this study they made, and they prove that you can really increase the diversity of gut microbiota if you eat fiber, so vegetables and nuts and seeds and all these things, and if you eat fermented food. In this experiment, they did kombucha, kefir or yogurt, I forgot, and sauerkraut. They did these the three foods which is fermented. I will list the fermented food again in the Facebook group, but I just want to, so yeah, you can clearly see that it was scientifically proven as well. I can't give you answer, what food will be the most kind of healing for you, because even if we find some like general traits, it will be always, that's why I'm so passionate about personalized approach, because obviously carrot, I think, will be generally accepted. But when we go to food like broccoli, which is really healing and help us detoxify, some people might be like, I cannot have much of broccoli. And that's why we have to have this personalized approach and really tune in the body and do the work in the beginning, eliminate all the trigger food, and then instead add the good healing food, and then take it from there and really build the gut. I can guarantee you, no, I can't guarantee anything, but I want to inspire you. I can guarantee you that if you will work on your gut, things will slowly improve. Like there's no chance it will improve. Maybe you will not heal completely in 3 months. I didn't either. Maybe you will heal in 6 months. And I know it's a long time, but just imagine how many years already you have rosacea. So it's something that like I will I will just want to inspire you to do the work, and make a space in your day to take care of yourself. Say high five in the morning when you wake up, and just like, I'm so happy to see you. And just thank you as well. Like we don't do that. We just like moaning and it's my cold coffee, I'm late to work. Like we have to pause, and because every thought that you have in your head will create these chemicals that either creates inflammation or creates healing. So if we stress, if we have low self-esteem, if we don't have enough sleep, we will never heal fully, because the body is still in this sympathetic nervous system. It's on, and we're not in this rest and digest, the parasympathetic. That's why the meditation, it's so, in our program we always meditate every week until people know it, how to do it, and they can just do it. So I'm sorry, I will talk for ages, but I have to go pick up my kids. So please post. Oh my gosh, I was talking. I didn't see the pictures here, the comments. I will be looking at this now, and I will go live later. And einkorn. You mean the wheat einkorn? You mean, right? That's good. I would go for einkorn if you can buy. That's good. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I will wait, I switch this.